Hello guys, I'm sorry this video is being presented in the manner that it's being presented in, but this was originally going to be two separate videos, but I got really busy this week and kept putting things off because I'm lazy like that, I guess. I was going to check out the New Japan G1 tournament that happened last week. I was going to watch it this week. I haven't had time because I think it's, 8 or 9 different shows. So there's a lot of material to go through. I haven't had a chance to actually sit down and watch it all yet, but I was really interested in it. True Slayer's reviews were glowing regarding the tournament, and it sounded like something that would have interested me. So I'll be sure to get around to that sometime later, possibly next week. But yeah, I got busy with a bunch of other things as well. I didn't even watch Hardcore Justice. Not that I was that interested in it anyway. TNA is kind of a mess right now. Just a directionless mess. I don't even know what happened. I didn't even read the results, so... Oh well. Yeah, instead of watching that, I went to go see Kick-Ass 2, which was pretty good, I have to say. I saw Wolverine a couple weeks ago, and I liked that as well. Not great movies, but they're enjoyable. And in the case of Kick-Ass 2, if you like the first one, I think you'll like this one just fine. So it was really enjoyable, a lot of fun. So those are my movie recommendations, in case you're looking for something to go see. But yeah, getting into wrestling, I obviously wanted to talk about Summerslam 2013, which is happening Sunday night. I've got a lot to say about that as far as previewing it and everything else goes. But I did want to touch up on something that's really been bugging me lately about the WWE. And one character in particular, and that's the handling of Fandango. And, you know, when they first started showing vignettes for Fandango and showcasing this gimmick, I think most people looked at it and went, oh, fuck this shit, another dance gimmick, this is going to be fucking horrible. And then he debuted. And then he started talking, and I was like, oh, this guy's interesting. He's really creepy on the mic, and I've made the comment he sounds like a registered sex offender. Really interesting, a lot of fun to listen to. And that only added to, it kind of made the dance gimmick work in a way, because it made him even weirder and even creepier. And, you know, the feud with Jericho, for the most part, went really well, and I thought, hey, maybe they got something here with this guy. They got something with this character. You know, he's just still a little unpolished in the ring, but that'll improve over time, hopefully. But the gimmick's great. He's great on the mic. The theme song got over with the New Jersey crowd, and it still sort of sticks. Wow, WWE, you know, they potentially have a really good character here. Mistake number 1. The week after the post-WrestleMania Raw, and that whole just insanity with his theme song getting over with the crowd, them singing the theme song. The next week, they tried to ram it down our throats as some big social media sensation, and really felt like they were ramming it down people's throats. And it ended up being one of the most awkward segments of the year. Just really came off poorly. And, you know, if you really want to make something uncool, tell us to do it. And that will officially make it uncool. And, you know, nobody wants to do something they feel like they're being forced into it. Yeah, so that was mistake number 1. Mistake number 2, they clearly had no plan or direction for the guy after the feud with Jericho. Once the feud with Jericho was done, it was like, well, he's just going to come out and dance every week, and that's it. He's going to have random matches. He might win. He's probably not going to win. He might get himself counted out, but there's not going to be any point to anything that he does. And pretty much since the Jericho feud, he's really been sort of just lost on an island and hasn't had a whole lot to do. And it doesn't help that he's losing all the time either. And another mistake that they've made is... again, going back to the post-WrestleMania Raw, it was absolutely hilarious when he won the match by disqualification because Jericho beat him up. Beat the ever-living piss out of him. And the announcer gets on the microphone and announces, here's your winner by disqualification, Fandango. And then Fandango takes the mic while he's beaten to death, sitting there like, it's Fandango. Like, even in his beaten, battered state, he felt the need to correct somebody on his name. And that was how the catchphrase got out. He was just, mentally disturbed and obsessive compulsive that people, pronounce his name correctly. Now he just says the catchphrase for no reason. Nobody announces him, and he doesn't correct people announcing him. Wrestlers aren't mispronouncing his name or anything. He just goes out there, has a match, loses the match, and then says it's Fandango on the mic, and that's it. It's just part of a set formulaic deal. He does his dance, comes out, loses, says it's Fandango, and that's it. And there's no point. So they've killed the point to the catchphrase. I also have to say, and this is more of a minor misstep, I like the first girl better, and I don't know why they switched from the first girl to Summer Rae. And not that Summer Rae isn't attractive and nice to look at, but she's clearly not quite the proficient dancer that the first girl was. So I don't know what the reason was for the change, but I did like the first girl better. And I thought it added more to the overall presentation than Summer Rae does. But I know Summer Rae's a trained wrestler and, is in NXT and everything, but it's not the same. I can tell one did dancing for a living, and I can tell the other one doesn't. It's kind of obvious. But, yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because I really feel like they're Simon Deaning Fandango, and I don't like it. And if you've seen my past videos where I've talked about Simon Dean, I thought there was a lot of potential in that character. He was funny, he was colorful, could get heat like a motherfucker. Great vignettes, great presentation, great everything. I thought he could have been the next Honky Tonk Man, just that really great sort of comedy-based mid-card heel. And ultimately they just used him as a jobber. And they're kind of doing that with Fandango now, and I don't like it. And again, I'm not saying Fandango is a world championship-worthy character, at least not yet anyway, I don't know. But I felt like the character could have been a very strong mid-card act that they could have done a lot with, especially given, the talent himself is just a natural on the mic. And again, he's just the whole registered sex offender voice of his. I feel like Chris Hansen should be brought out whenever he spoke. It was just really creepy. And there was just a huge upside to him going into WrestleMania and then coming out of WrestleMania. And it feels like they're dropping the ball with him, and I don't know what the reason is for that. But it's disappointing, whatever it is. But yeah, that's my rant on Fandango and how WWE is mismanaging that character. Not that hasn't happened before in wrestling. It's just that Fandango was actually a character I liked. And I'm disappointed to see what it's turned into. But, yeah, let's get into SummerSlam. Now, I have to say, this SummerSlam card is actually, for the most part, pretty good. It could be stronger in certain areas, but the double main event is just killer. I mean, that is an excellent double main event that they've set up for this pay-per-view. And those two matches, CM Punk versus Brock Lesnar and John Cena versus Daniel Bryan, those are worth the price of admission alone. And, they've done a killer job setting up both of those matches. I'm really looking forward to both of those. But the undercard has some good booking put into the feuds there as well. And hopefully all of that turns out well, and we get a pretty damn good pay-per-view out of it, because I'm definitely going to order it, because, like I said, the two main events are worth it all by itself. Excuse me. But going over the card, we do have a United States title match on the pre-show. It's Dean Ambrose versus Rob Van Dam. And don't really care all that much. I imagine Ambrose will keep the title, and Rob Van Dam will probably win by DQ or something like that. You'll probably get, I don't know if this has been added yet, but I'm assuming it's going to be, The Shield versus Big Show and Mark Henry for the tag titles. Which, I don't know, that match kind of feels thrown together. And Big Show turns face for the 800 billionth time. I swear to God, I could... again, I've made this joke before, but I don't care. It's you want the wrestling fans' equivalent to counting sheep to go to sleep is counting how many times Big Show's turned face and heel. Because it's a fuckload. Personally, I thought they had something pretty good going with the Usos and Mark Henry as a three-man team taking on the Shield, and I would have much rather they saved that for the pay-per-view. And that match not only would have been a really good opener, I think it would have been a nice stepping stone to an Usos Shield tag title rematch, which they're probably going to do anyway. But Yeah, I wish they'd done that instead of these two matches. I don't know what to do with Rob Van Dam, but he's kind of just a guy that's just having matches right now. So, they'll probably they probably got something for him. But yeah, what else? What else? We have a Total Divas grudge match. I think it's Brie Bella versus Natalya. I don't really care. That'll be when I take my piss break, if nothing else. I think Natalya's going to win because she inexplicably got a win over AJ on Raw this week, and that just kind of makes me think, oh, well, she's going to be the next contender, so there you go. So Natalya wins that one. And I picked the Shield to retain all their titles, in case I forgot to mention that. Then we got the World Heavyweight title match, which feels random as fuck. Again, and I've said it before, they really need to do away with the world title because it's such an afterthought at this point. Alberto and Christian both feel like directionless, and they're kind of in limbo right now, and they kind of just threw this match together. Is Christian retiring, or what is the deal with the whole... They're trying to get the whole one more match thing over it, but they haven't said if Christian's retiring or anything like that, so the whole situation just comes off as forced, rushed, and confusing, I should say. So I don't know what the deal is there. All I know is I don't really care because it's not really that interesting of a situation. There's not a whole lot of a feud or a story going into this match. And it's for a title that really has no real reason to exist at this point. So that'll be that. I guess Alberto's going to retain. I don't see any reason to put the world title on Christian at this point, especially if he's going to retire, which I think they were dropping hints for that. I kind of sort of guess. I don't know. I'm confused. What else does this card have? We've got the mixed tag team match. Yeah, Dolph Ziggler and Caitlyn versus AJ and Biggie Langston. I like this match, actually. I think mixing these two feuds was actually a good idea. A nice... intersecting of storylines and amalgamation of feuds. I really like that. It all fits together pretty nicely. AJ and Caitlyn, some people on the internet are saying it's like one of the best feuds of the year or something, or it's like this awesome feud. It's not necessarily an awesome feud. It's just a solid one that actually has some effort put into it. Especially with AJ's character, they've actually created a Divas character that people actually give a shit about. Because she's not, if for years, especially once the likes of Trish and Lita were gone and Mickey was being phased out, it was like all your characters were either blonde smiling bimbos or evil bitches, like that were stuck up and conceited, and those were your characters. That was the extent. That's all you got. With AJ, you at least have something different and a character with like a history and kind of this insane personality. So she actually kind of works, and this feud with Caitlyn just feels like something that I should actually give a shit about, since the AJ character is actually a character with personality and not just some cardboard cutout that the WWE would usually throw out there. And then you got Dolph Ziggler and Biggie Langston, and this is, this whole partnership that they've had going back to last year, and AJ and Langston turned on him at, which pay-per-view was it? It was the night after Money in the Bank, I think, where they actually did the turn. So yeah, this match makes total sense, and I think mixed tags can be a lot of fun, so I think this match could be entertaining, and I would give the win to the faces, just to give Dolph Ziggler a win, and to build him up, give him some momentum and hopefully build him upwards to something bigger and better. We shall see if they do that. Next up, we have the Ring of Fire match between Bray Wyatt and Kane. I hate these matches. I hate these type of matches. Inferno matches, fire matches, anything having to do with barbed wire or any kind of scaffold match, like when TNA did the stupid Elevation X matches or whatever. These type of matches are just, like, really dangerous to me and really make me antsy to where I'm just sitting there like Hell in a Cell doesn't make me as antsy as these. Even when people were going on top of the cell, because I'm like, it's a big area. It's not as openly dangerous unless you try to be like Mick Foley. And not many people were, were willing to do that. But yeah, fire is very hard to control. Barbed wire is very dangerous, and falling from heights is not a good idea, especially on tiny, tiny platforms. But yeah, anything having to do with fire just makes me antsy, and I'm just sitting there just the whole time just going, please, please don't die, please don't die, please don't die, just get through the match, get through the match. And hopefully they will, and nobody gets hurt, and everything turns out okay. Bray Wyatt better go over, and I think he's going to. The Wyatts have been awesome since they've been in. Now, those are some great characters they've got right there. And Bray Wyatt's just great. I love what they've been doing with him and the whole group, and there's absolutely no reason for Kane to win this match. Bray Wyatt gets the win, starts off the Wyatts' run with a win on pay-per-view. This is actually Bray Wyatt's in-ring debut with the company since the Wyatts debuted, so... yeah, give him a big win over Kane here and move him on to bigger and better things going forward. Obviously, we all want that Wyatt's Shield match. We'll probably get that at WrestleMania 30. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be really good. I'm sure they'll do that down the road. Then we get into the two main event matches, which are awesome, as I've already said. CM Punk versus Brock Lesnar is a match that I've wanted ever since Lesnar came back. And they have done a masterful job of building this matchup with Paul Heyman turning on Punk and the promos and interactions between the two. The reasons for why the characters are doing what they're doing. I mean, they address so many things in this feud, like why Lesnar and Punk never teamed up before. Which is, I was sitting there just yelling at the top of my lungs, like, how have they not interacted on TV yet? What is going on? And this feud, and in these segments, and in these promos, they took the time to explain all of that, and it really makes it feel like they've been building this matchup for a year instead of just a few weeks, really. It's just a really well-crafted feud between two guys that are so different in personality and an in-ring style. It's really, really, really well done. And anytime they brawled on TV, it's been really, really good, with Punk playing the underdog to perfection. And I really am looking forward to seeing this match. Who's going to go over? I think this is a match that could go either way. If it were up to me, I would give the win to Lesnar, just to give him 2 wins in a row for the first time since he's been back. And I think there is a lot of room in this feud to go with to build up a rematch. They could possibly build up to a Survivor Series match with both guys captaining 2 teams. And then they could do another one-on-one rematch at, say, the Rumble or maybe even the December pay-per-view, TLC. And because I think CM Punk's going to win the Royal Rumble, but we'll get there when we get there. But my basic point is I think they can get a lot of build-up out of this feud, and they can keep going with this. And they could probably take this going until the end of the year, especially with Lesnar's limited schedule. It'll be easier to space it all out. So I would give the win to Lesnar just to leave that as a possibility. And I'm going to go ahead and pick Lesnar to win because I think they might do something like that. So, but like I said, they could go either way with this. Give the big win to Punk and, use that to springboard him into something bigger and better, like a Royal Rumble victory, for example. So they could go either way here. It'd be totally fine. And I'm really loving this match. I'm really looking forward to this. So hopefully this match delivers in a big way. And thank God we are done with the Brock Lesnar Triple H stuff because I was getting so goddamn sick and tired of that shit. You have no idea. And the matches were so mediocre anyway, so I didn't even see a point in continuing it. But yeah, I think this match is going to be really good. And I think just the fact that Lesnar has such a great size advantage over Punk, that it's going to be a more natural fit between the two. And I think they're going to mesh together really, really well. So here's hoping. I think that one's going to be great. Then we got John Cena versus Daniel Bryan, which is another match that has been done masterfully well from a build-up standpoint. John Cena's best matches are the ones where they give us that option for a replacement babyface to kind of overthrow him. And it really puts Cena in the heel role, and I've already touched up on this in my last video, but it really puts Cena in the heel role when you have somebody like a Rob Van Dam going into an ECW pay-per-view, like a CM Punk heading into that Money in the Bank pay-per-view, or like a Daniel Bryan heading into this pay-per-view. When you give us that viable option to get excited about, to possibly overthrow Cena, it is really exciting, and it's really a lot of fun, and it just makes me root for Daniel Bryan even harder and hate John Cena that much more as we get closer and closer to this match. I'm just sitting there going, it's like, oh god, I hope Daniel Bryan wins. That'd be so sweet. So, you know, those are Cena's best matches, and I think this match has potential to be that. Especially with how well they've built up Daniel Bryan over the last few months. And again, they've really made him into the perfect underdog. And I have to say, I've been critical of evil boss angles and trying to screw over wrestlers. This is one where it actually works, with Vince McMahon trying to kind of buck Daniel Bryan and keep him out of the spotlight. This is one where it makes sense, because too many times with evil boss angles, the evil boss just mistreats the faces just because. It's like, okay, I'm evil, and you're the guys that the fans like, so I have to hate you, because that's how this shit works. And sometimes it'll happen and it doesn't even make much sense. Like, why did Johnny Ace, this is the example I keep going back to, but why did Johnny Ace hate Zack Ryder? And why did he not want to put Zack Ryder on TV when the fans were screaming for Zack Ryder? I mean, it made absolutely no sense for him to dislike Zack Ryder, especially as a businessman. He should be thinking, oh, well, the fans like him, I'll throw him out there. And it really felt like they couldn't come up with a good reason. It was just, oh, we're just doing it just to do it. And, you know, stuff like that happens a lot. Why did Vicky Guerrero screw over half the people that she screwed over? Because I'm the heel, and that's why. That's what I do. So a lot of times it didn't really make a lot of sense. Here it makes a lot of sense because we've always had that perception of Vince that he likes big guys. He likes his company to be represented by big, muscled-up, roided-out monsters. And Daniel Bryan is the complete antithesis of that. He's all about in-ring work, technical mat wrestling, and he's tiny. He is small, which goes against everything that Vince McMahon, you know, what has been believed about Vince McMahon and what he looks for in his champions and his stars. So Daniel Bryan completely goes against the image of what Vince McMahon wants in a corporate champion. Much like the Austin feud back in '98, the first evil boss angle that really, really worked well. And so this is one that actually works, and it really enhances Daniel Bryan a lot, and, you know, gives us more reason to cheer for him. Now, the part of it that doesn't work is when he says that he doesn't like John Cena, and he hopes that, you know, both him and Bryan spontaneously combust. It's like, really? Anytime they try to say that Vince McMahon doesn't like John Cena, I just go, okay. that's real cute. It's cute. Sure he doesn't. It's like, because Cena's not the corporate champion at all whatsoever. Not at all. They'll keep telling us that, but, you know, John Cena is the representation of everything that is corporate WWE, which, again, makes it even sweeter when the Rob Van Dams and the CM Punks and the Daniel Bryans all overthrow him, because it feels like a victory for, you know, more individualistic thinking and, you know, just giving the fans what they really, really want. But, yeah, I think this match is really going to be interesting. And you have the specter of Randy Orton hanging over this with the Money in the Bank briefcase. And the interesting thing about that is that Orton doesn't have a match on this pay-per-view, at least last I checked. So I was really kind of thinking, it's like, all right, he'd kind of be a moron not to cash in, because he's not wrestling. And Punk and Bryan, or Cena and Bryan are going to be tired as hell after their match. So it's like, I mean, it's pretty much, you know, said he's going to play some kind of role in this. What's he going to do? I don't know. What I will say as far as a prediction goes, I think Daniel Bryan's going to beat John Cena. There's no way that John Cena is walking out of this pay-per-view with the belt. Even if he beats Bryan, I think Orton's going to cash in on him and win the belt. But I think Daniel Bryan's going to beat him, and then the victory party might be spoiled by a Money in the Bank cash-in, although I hope they don't do that. I would prefer it if they just gave us our happy ending and then did the Orton-Bryan feud after that. But It does make sense since it's already been established that Orton does not like Bryan and Bryan does not like Orton. And the victory over Orton was the payoff to the weaker link storyline that they were doing with Bryan before setting him on the path to SummerSlam. So there's definitely something to play with there. But no matter what happens, I don't think Cena's walking out with the belt. And if he does, I will cry bullshit because that is just a horribly boring. If they turn Daniel Bryan heel, which I don't think they'll do, that would be upsetting because that would just be so going against the grain. I think there would be no purpose behind doing that. Yeah, if Orton walks out with the belt via Money in the Bank, I'll be okay with it as long as it doesn't set up Cena versus Orton. If it's Bryan and Orton, okay, fine. If it's Cena and Orton again, I will ram my head into a wall because I don't want to see that shit again. Man, and what kind of role will Triple H play as special guest referee? I have no idea. Again, hopefully it doesn't result in any kind of, heel turn bullshit with Triple H or anything like that, because that would just make me roll my eyes. Yeah, I don't know what he's going to do in this match, quite honestly. It'll be interesting to see what he does. Hopefully that just doesn't go into, familiar territory or any kind of stupid Russo-y kind of twist that doesn't make a whole lot of sense or anything like that. But we'll see what happens. Whatever happens, I am really excited for this main event, and hopefully it turns out really, really well. And here's hoping for a Daniel Bryan victory. It'll be really fascinating to see what happens. And SummerSlam, fucking A, they've got 2 killer matches. It's a huge double whammy for a main event, and I think much better than the WrestleMania main events. WrestleMania had a triple main event with Rock and Cena 2, Lesnar, Triple H 2, and Punk and Undertaker. And those matches were nowhere near as interesting as these two at SummerSlam. I mean, the storylines and the feuds and the build-ups of the characters and their interactions together, it's just a lot fresher and a lot more exciting and a lot more interesting. And I'm way more excited for these matches than I was at WrestleMania, even though I went to WrestleMania and I was just excited in general. They did a much better job setting up the big matches for SummerSlam than they did for WrestleMania. So here's hoping for the best at WrestleMania. I'm going to be checking out this weekend. I'm sure most of you will as well, and hopefully you all enjoy, and I'll have a review for it sometime early next week. So until then, peace out, everybody. Stupid, 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 stupid. Oh my god. Okay, I was putting the video together and I was just about to post it on YouTube, and then I realized I didn't talk about Cody Rhodes versus Damien Sandow, one of my more favorite matches on the card. Oh my god. Oh, I'm an idiot. So I thought, well, I can't post the SummerSlam video without talking about Cody versus Sandow. And, I thought, okay, I can either go back and refilm the entire thing, or I can just put in this little fucking prologue exposing how lazy and stupid I am. I went for option B. I don't know why. That's just what I'm doing. So, okay, quickly, gotta talk about Cody versus Sandow. I like this feud. I love Damien Sandow as a character, and he's just hilarious every time he's on TV, and it's nice to see him finally being put in a feud that lets him showcase the best of his abilities. Love that new Money in the Bank briefcase, by the way. That thing looks sweet, even if it does look like chocolate. I love the bit they did where Cody threw the thing in the river. I loved... I love their interactions together, and I think they're kind of bringing out the best in each other. I wish Sandow didn't get humiliated as much in the feud. I wish he'd gotten some heat on Cody going into the match, but overall, it is a nice feud with fun interactions between two characters that normally don't get to do anything of substance. So, I'm really liking this. Who to give the win to? I would personally give it to Sandow. mainly because he's the one that's the Money in the Bank briefcase winner, and they need to start building him up with some wins so that when he cashes in and wins the belt, it'll actually mean something. I actually think they could possibly get a rematch out of these two. Again, I already talked about it with Punk and Lesnar, but what if they took this feud all the way to the TLC pay-per-view, and one of the matches on there was a one-on-one ladder match for the Money in the Bank briefcase between Sandow and Cody, with Cody putting something on the line, because I don't like the Ziggler-Cena match from last year. I didn't like that Ziggler had to put his briefcase up just because the bosses said so, and with Cena putting nothing on the line, because I kind of feel like it's like, look, it's his prize. If Cena wants it, he should have to put something on the line to get it. Actually, I remember Ziggler and Jericho had a match on Raw, and it was rushed and under-promoted. They just threw it out there just to write Jericho off TV. But the idea was like, okay, it was like Money in the Bank briefcase for a career. At least Jericho's putting something on the line of some kind of tangible substance. I'm not saying Cody should have to put up his career or anything, but there should be like something that Cody, if they do that rematch, there should be something that Cody puts on the line so that Sandow isn't just getting completely screwed in by having to put his Money in the Bank briefcase prize up for grabs that should be rightfully his. But overall, I do like this feud. Love both characters. I would give the win to Sandow, and I think it'll be one of the better undercard matches on the SummerSlam. So, good job there. That's a good mid-card feud. I like it. And I cannot believe I forgot to talk about it on the first go-through, but it's late at night, and I'm a little out of it, and I'm just naturally lazy and stupid to begin with. So, that's all I got for now, and again, I will review SummerSlam at some point next week. So, look forward to that, and I will see you all later.